Welcome to You Talk. I'm Megan Demolina, school counselor at Noble Middle School. Our show is all about the middle school student. We discuss social media, relationships, bullying, academics, stress, and so much more. Joining us each month is a dynamic and engaging panel of middle school students ready to discuss the issues and tackle the tough questions. We kick off our show with some Q&A, featuring questions on a variety of topics from middle schools throughout the school system that our panel of students are ready to answer. No question or topic is too difficult. All right, panelists, here's the first question. Hello, I have trouble getting people to notice or realize I exist. And when they do, I am simply the nerdy girl from who you can copy. I don't need to be popular or anything, but it just would be nice to stand out in some way. I am just average, nothing special about me at all. I hang out with two friends who outshine me in basically every way. And I'm okay with that, but sometimes I worry they are only putting up with me because they feel that they have to. I am shy and have trouble reaching out. How do I get people to notice me without stepping too far out of my comfort zone? So ladies, how do you approach this question? What advice do you have?
I'm like a super not a shy person, I'm more of like a people person. But I feel like if you just talk and try to get to know them better, you can try to form a relationship with other people, or kind of if you're friends with other friends, try to be friends with their friends too, because they're probably like their friends. Which if you like your friends, that's a good thing.
Right, making the circle of peers and friends a little bit bigger, and kind of knowing when to enter in and when to step back out, and that space in between friendships of getting together and kind of not getting together, that's a very healthy balance when you're looking at friendship circles and relationships. Any other advice, especially the part about how she's expressing here that she's a really shy person and she has trouble reaching out? Any personal experiences or other suggestions that you have?
She should try to be herself and
Love that.
do what she wants to do and stuff.
Yeah, if it feels right, and join in if everything is the stars are aligned, and but it's just kind of one of those things that if you're not comfortable, it's okay. I know it can feel worse than it really is, right? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
But just be you and know your boundaries, and find ways to connect with people when it's right for you and when it's comfortable.
Like,
What do you think, Sadie?
you could find something you're really good at. Like, if you're good at drawing, for example, you could draw a really pretty picture and then show it to different people and ask of their opinion. And then maybe if they want you to, you could draw pictures of them, and then you could
Yeah, I've seen that. That's a great example, because if you're interested in something or you're really good at something, that's a nice way to just enter into a conversation, into a group. I've seen girls before at the middle school level who are really good at making those bracelets, and then they share that love of their craft or their passion and what they're good at with others, and then that kind of becomes a natural way, oh, I want to make that, and then you get to know each other, and that's just one example, but I like your drawing example as well. That's a good idea.
You just have to make if you don't think your friends are there because they want to, then you should try and make new friends who have similar interests with you.
Right.
Like other shy people or other people that like drawing, if you like drawing.
Sure. Trying to find that common, some similarities or that common bond that you share. And
We have 900 people at our school too, so there has to be someone who's semi like you or shy like you or going through the same thing. So.
And it sounds like, this person writing in is talking a little bit more about just being average, but we're all special and unique in our own way. We all have gifts and talents, so it's normal and okay to feel like that, but it's good to dig deep and kind of realize your potential and share your passions and share your interests with others, and that naturally can help lead to some really positive peers and friendships, not just short-term friendships, but even long-term, lifelong friends. Let's go to the next question. I've been hanging out with this friend, we'll call friend number one. So anyway, for a while, we hung out all the time, but then we stopped for some reason. So then I started hanging out with this other friend we'll call friend number 2. And we had a great time together as friends. But friend number 1 made new friends and usually made fun of me and friend number 2. So a couple of days ago, I texted friend number 1, apologizing for being a lousy friend. So now we're friends again, but I don't know what to do with friend number 2. Please help me. Kind of another friendship question about the dynamics of one day we're friends, one day we're not, and then what do we do with the other friends, and how do we make that all work? This is complicated in middle school, isn't it?
Well,
We all have ideas and suggestions.
You could like help friend number 1 and friend number 2 find common like ground and bond, and then maybe they'll become friends, and then you guys just have this one big friend group, which is what happened with me. And
Have you ever taken the time to introduce people to each other? Like, Sadie, this is Maya. Maya, this is Sadie. Let's all talk. It can be kind of awkward, right, if you don't really know each other. But that's a really important skill to learn, that whether you're friends or not, to open up that group, you really do need to have that connection of introducing people and helping them get connected as well, because it makes it a little bit easier to move between friends and come and go, and then it's not like her side and my side and friend number 1 and friend number 2, because that feels so divided, right? We want to be inclusive. What do you think, Shelby?
Well, it's okay to have more than one friend,
Right.
and you gotta stay like loyal to friend number 2 because she was there for you when friend number 1 wasn't. And it's okay. It sounds like friend number 1 probably doesn't like friend number 2 because she's making fun of them. And it's okay for them not all to like each other. I mean, it'd be cool if you can make them 2 like each other, but it's okay.
Right.
Friend number 1 might not be the best friend because she made fun of you, and a real friend wouldn't make fun of you even if you weren't a good friend.
I'm really glad that you both brought that up, because that's a huge example of defining those friendships and what makes a quality friend and a lifelong friend, and maybe that making fun of the other, that interferes with that loyalty and that trust, and that can be broken when things like that happen. So kind of makes you tread a little bit lightly and make sure you're proceeding with caution, right, the next time around. But
I think you should be friends with number 2 because she didn't make fun of you.
But you never know because they could be having a bad day or something that you don't know is going on, and
Right.
it could just be like a mood swing.
Exactly.
So.
You never know what other people are going through, or what each new day brings, and
Maybe you should just talk to them.
you have to have patience and talk, communicate. Check in. Are you okay? What was going on there? That wasn't really nice. We didn't appreciate that. And can we forgive and forget and move on? Right? Sometimes you do have to seek out an adult to help and make sure that you get that extra support, maybe from someone that outside of school, your parents or a counselor in school. That would be a good idea. All right. Coming up next, Mrs. Turner and our panel of students discuss the life of a middle school student in and out of school. Don't go away. We have much more U Talk ahead.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother ya?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to U Talk. I'm Paige Turner, school counselor at Noble Middle School.
All too often, we hear myths about middle school and the lives of preteens and teens. To set the record straight, we decided to go directly to the source and talk with our panelists about what their experiences have been like in middle school. Is all the hype fact or fiction? All right, panelists. So we just want to kind of talk about what it is like to be in middle school, what it's like to be your age. So I just have a bunch of questions we're going to talk about. So the first one is what is your favorite thing about being in middle school? Does anybody have anything that they really like?
I mean, friends.
Friends?
A lot of people, social.
Yeah. So different from elementary school because there's a lot more kids in middle school, so you have more opportunities to meet new people.
Yeah, you have a different variety of kids.
Especially because the middle schools usually have multiple elementary schools that feed into it.
I don't like how there's more people because it's just so crowded, and I don't know. But it's more freedom, which is nice. I just don't like how crowded our school is.
Yeah, I don't like how there's a lot of people. I like the diversity of people.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
I like that you can do like drama and business and stuff like that, but I don't like how it's half the school year. Like if you don't like it, you're stuck with it the whole half the school year, and then if you do another one and you don't like it, you're stuck with it for the rest of the year.
Right. So you do have options, but you don't really know exactly what the class is going to be like until you get in it, and then you're kind of stuck if that's what if it's not really what you thought it was going to be. And maybe that's something that you can talk to older students who maybe have been in those classes, like because especially like in the next couple of months, you guys are going to be choosing electives for next year. You know, get their opinions.
I'm the oldest though, so I'm the trailblazer, and I have to tell my little siblings.
Yeah, well, we've got some 7th graders right over here that I'm sure that you could ask. What is your least favorite thing about middle school? I've heard kind of the overcrowding.
Teachers are a lot different from elementary school. They're a lot like less, what's the word I want to use? I don't know, like more like turn it in, or it's like a 0 type of thing. In elementary school, it's a smaller class, so they kind of get to know you better, and they can like assume, like they hear a voice like, oh, it's you talking, when it might not be, because they just have so many kids.
Right, because you're with that teacher pretty much most of the day in elementary school.
Yeah.
And with those 25 kids or however many students.
Like 90 students.
You have like different,
and now
you switch to different teachers, and so like they don't get to know you as well as you did in elementary school.
And people are meaner in middle school, because in elementary school everyone was so nice, and then you're in middle school, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't know what happens.
And in middle school, like you have a whole lot more work, and one of my teachers just has homework every night, and it's always due the next day, and it's annoying.
Yeah, and I think what we try to do is we try to progressively kind of, add the responsibilities and the homework and the difficulty as you move through middle school, so you don't start 6th grade and it's, too much too soon. We try to kind of taper that in, but, I think it's good preparation for high school for sure. That's kind of the whole point of middle school, is that transition period between elementary and high school, which can be kind of confusing and difficult and awkward for sure. So what encourages you guys to do your best in school, academically and behaviorally? Like, do rewards, like extrinsic motivations, or do you just like the feeling of accomplishment? Do you like pleasing others?
Oh, I definitely like pleasing people. Like, they'll do
That's just
whatever
your
you ask.
personality.
Like some people's parents set rewards.
Yeah.
Like some people's parents set like rewards on, like if they get all A's, then they get to like have this certain thing, or like if they get A's and B's, they have something lower that's not as cool as like all A's, but they still get to get something.
I don't want to be punished.
There you go.
I don't want to get my phone taken away.
Right.
My parents say if I don't keep my grades up, they're going to like take away my privileges.
So it's a combination of rewards, combination of maybe some punishments or consequences that you're trying to avoid.
It like satisfies me when I get a good grade.
Yeah.
I think it bothers me more than it bothers my mom.
Yeah.
And she does rewards too, but like if I get a bad grade, it like stresses me out. So it's just like.
Do any of you, and I'm kind of hearing you might be feeling this way, Shelby, are any of you harder on yourself than your parents ever? Or do you feel like your parents are harder on you?
My dad's
It's like a
definitely
mix,
harder
actually.
on me.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably even.
Yeah. You think your dad's harder on you than you are on yourself?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it may depend on what the situation is too, you know, what it might be. Let's see. Let's talk about teachers, because we talked about them just a little while ago. Do you feel like your teachers understand you and can relate to you, or do you sometimes think they just don't get it?
Definitely don't get it.
Well, don't get it.
One of my teachers gets it, but the other two do not.
Do not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some of my teachers get it, but like most of them don't. They're like, oh, that's an excuse. It's like, no, it's not. I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a mix. Half the teachers do and half the teachers don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of students, so I don't think they care that much.
Well, and I think it really depends on the teacher and their situation and personalities too, you know, that can have something to do with it as well. What tips do you think would help teachers understand you guys better?
Well, not everything is an excuse. Sometimes people are just telling you what they were doing, and it's not meant to be an excuse.
So maybe listen a little bit more to the students? Yeah.
And like trust what they're saying.
It's really different from when they lived, so I think they just gotta understand that it's like a completely different time period. It's like so different from when they were kids.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think if adults are kind of living in the past, it's sometimes difficult to have, you know, to relate to students and to be able to understand them, because you're right, it's not the same at all, at all. Are there things that teachers could do differently that would help you specifically? You said listen. Can't think of anything else. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So it says you hear about middle children and families feeling like they are left out. Do you feel that way about being in middle school, in between elementary and high school? Do you feel like middle school is kind of overlooked, or this like lost 3 years? No, not really. You feel valued and important in middle school, and not like
my little sister
overlooked.
used to
That's
be
nice.
like the apple of my family's eye, but now that I'm in middle school, my parents, like whenever I'm upset, my parents are like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? And now
Because like in elementary school, you're young and you can't do much, but like in middle school, you have new privileges.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like ready and capable of like handling that new freedom and those new responsibilities and privileges?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Okay. What types of things are you able to do now that you are older? Things that you couldn't do when you were younger? It could be in school or out of school. What are some things that you?
Like I can like watch whatever like I want to now and like go somewhere without my parents, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I can like not have to be with them all the time, and they kind of like trust me more, but also trust me less. So, like,
Yeah. They do trust you more?
I don't
Or-
really know. Like when I was little, I wouldn't lie. Now I feel like when you get older, you like get a little bit more sneakier and stuff. But then they also know I like. I don't know. It's like a mix.
So you just don't know where you stand with your parents right now.
I mean, they trust me more because like they know I know more now.
Yeah.
But then like also I'm a teenager and.
My parents don't trust me with the knowledge they've given me, but my friend's dad lets us like run around. He says, you're in 6th grade now, you have more freedom. And that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, like you can stay like home alone now, or you can go to a place without your parents, like with your friends. So you have more freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the freedom that you have to go places, you guys are all connected with technology, I'm assuming? Yes. Yes. Does that,
So you can contact people.
right, so I guess in asking that question, is it more helpful now that you're older and have those abilities to like have a phone or to, you know, have that technology? Or do you feel like that to some degree there's, you know, your parents are on you more because of that, because of like social media or other things?
Yeah.
Yeah, like at first I thought I was being given more freedom when I got the phone, but then one of the teachers told me that I'd given up a lot of freedom, so I actually considered giving it back.
Yeah. What do you mean you gave up a lot of freedom?
Like your parents are, like my parents do text checks to make sure I'm not texting anything bad or like I don't have any rude friends. And
So like back in the day when I was in middle school, we passed notes, and unless your parents found the notes, you know, they wouldn't necessarily know exactly what the exchanges were with other people. But now you're saying like your parents are checking, so they're seeing that.
It's good and bad at the same time. Like you can contact people now, like if you were in an emergency, but like also people can contact you
Yeah.
that maybe you don't want to talk to them.
I don't think it's that bad, because if your parents check your phone, you could just delete the text that you don't want them to see, or you can just block people you don't want.
They can still see the text. They
Or
can
you
go
can
to the
text
Apple Store and pay to
things.
see them.
Who pay?
I don't know, I'm just saying. I kind of wish it was like how it was when like phones and stuff did more as like a thing in middle school. I mean, I like them, but like now if you don't have one, like you can't contact people. But I feel like it was like more real relationships and stuff before phones.
I tried deleting this one this one email I didn't want. It was like, your iCloud storage is full, and I was like, I tried to delete it, but then instead I pressed all, and I lost a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting that you said something about you kind of wish that there wasn't as much technology.
People like lose friendships and stuff, but people like leaving them unread and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to finish this conversation when we come back from the break, so maybe we can pick up there and talk a little bit more about that and see what everybody else thinks, and we have some other questions as well. Now, don't go away. When we return, we'll continue talking about the life of the middle school student. We'll be right back.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Good morning, Uglyville!
Every ugly doll is unique.
I'm Moxie.
Bobo.
Wait.
Call me Slick Doll.
What?
And every child is too.
They can be pretty lovable.
That's why when you travel, you should make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size.
This is why you're the wisest doll in town.
Well, keep them safe by visiting NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Isn't that right, gibberish cat?
Find the right seat today.
Welcome back to You Talk. Before the break, we were talking about what the panelists' experiences have been like as preteens and teens. So right before the break, we were talking about technology, and is it a good thing that we have more of that now, or is it something that, you know, we wish we did not have as much technology so that we could maybe talk more in person and have more maybe real friendships and relationships instead of just texting everybody? Any more thoughts on that at all, or? I know Shelby was kind of feeling that way. Does anybody else agree with Shelby, or?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able, you can't see your friends like every day outside of school, and like you can like FaceTime your friends and stuff, and like you can text them so you can meet up together, because without phones you wouldn't be able to do that either. So
there are definitely some positives, you know.
I liked when they had like home phones, so you could still call your friends, but then like they could also like get real relationships. But it's also nice having a phone that you can like play on and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is just because you have the technology doesn't mean you actually have to be glued to it. You know, you can still pick up the phone and call somebody, which I know is kind of awkward and people don't do that as much. You know, and you still can do the in-person stuff. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Do you guys feel that your family or friends have the most influence in your lives right now?
Yes, definitely.
Which ones, family or friends, would you say, influence you more right now?
In school, my friends. At my home, my family.
Okay. So a combination of the two? Yeah. Anybody else?
At school, your parents can't really talk to you or anything.
To be honest, like my friends.
You think your friends?
Yeah, I mean my parents do a little bit, especially when I'm at like home or with them, but like probably my friends.
I mean, you're at school most of the day.
Yeah. Well, I guess when I say influence, do you feel like your friends, you know, you listen to more of what your friends tell you to do, or your parents, or do you want to be around your friends more than your parents?
Oh, friends.
So,
I want to be around my
friends.
friends more.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's like the truth.
Yeah.
You should listen to what your parents say, but you should also listen to what your friends say.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. It's kind of a, I don't, you know, you probably haven't really thought much about it, but I think you know, it's normal at this age for students to kind of gravitate more towards their friends than their family. And then eventually, you know, you usually gravitate back to your family. And they're always there, of course. Do you want your parents involved in your lives, or would you prefer to have more independence?
More independence.
I guess a no.
Like,
Like, I want them to be there, but like not as overprotective and helicopter way.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you can go.
No, I
Sorry.
was just going to say, you mentioned the word helicopter, and I think that's a big buzzword right now, is, you know, parents that just kind of swoop in and want to control everything and, you know, fix everything.
You don't want them to do that, but you still want them to be like in your lives and everything. You just don't want them to be like with you all the time and like overprotective people, like she said.
Would you rather them just to kind of be that safety net that's there if you kind of need something, but maybe not being the helicopter that swoops in, but just kind of being there in case you need that help and support? What were you going to say, Maya? Do you remember? Okay, you probably forgot it. Do you guys try to push the boundaries set by adults in your life? Like if there's like teachers or parents that have roles or you have responsibilities, do you sometimes try to push those boundaries and maybe not do some of those things?
And I'm always pushing my bedtime boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really think so. I mean, I'm sure I have at least once, but.
So most of the time you pretty much kind of follow the rules and expectations. Would you say most middle schoolers do that, or would you say there are plenty of middle schoolers that don't do that?
I think there's probably some middle schoolers that don't do it.
Yeah, a lot of them don't do it, but it makes class a lot more interesting.
When they don't?
Yeah.
It kind of gets the teacher off track, doesn't it?
Some kids in my class that don't really pay attention to the rules and they blurt out all the time. Some of it doesn't even make sense, but they always get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, what tips do you guys have for parents to help better understand you? Do you feel like they don't get it like teachers don't get it, or do you think they get it a little bit better?
I think they get it worse.
You think they get it worse?
Yeah, because they're not around kids every day and seeing like their problems every day.
Yeah.
They're more like with other adults.
Like,
so
I think they, like, sometimes parents, like, shouldn't always be up on their children because that sometimes really embarrasses you and it wouldn't give you, like, a good standard in middle school.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were kids, it was like totally different time period because like they didn't have like phones or I mean, they probably had like wall phones at some point, but not.
Yeah.
Also,
Absolutely.
we're just middle schoolers, and kids make mistakes all the time. So
and guess what? It's okay to make mistakes, you know? And maybe sometimes parents don't understand that, so, but it is. All right. Well, thank you guys. We had a few more questions, but I don't think we have time for it. That wraps up our program this month. I'm Paige Turner. On behalf of my co-host, Megan DeMolina, and the entire UTalk panel, thanks for watching. We hope you'll submit questions to our show and tune in again next month for an all-new episode of UTalk.